Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. Welcome to It's Time for More Injury Funding, the podcast for all who want to learn about legal funding and its significance in the personal injury, workers' compensation, civil litigation, medical malpractice, and many other types of law practice domains. I'm your host, Laura, founder and CEO of More Injury Funding, the legal funding counselors with passion for law, medicine, legal funding, and heart for all suffering individuals. More Injury Funding is a sponsor, member, associate, board member, or business partner of this podcast, Georgia Trial Lawyers Association, Academy of Drug Accident Attorneys, Sandy Springs Bar Association, Georgia Association for Women Lawyers, or GOL, Georgia Association of Paralegals, Atlanta Legal Aid Society, State Bar of Georgia, St. Andrew Rowing Club, and Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. In today's episode, I have a special guest, attorney Michael Kelly, founder and principal attorney at Michael Kelly Injury Lawyers, with 8 offices in Boston and surrounding cities in Massachusetts. With an extensive background in various legal areas, Michael leverages his comprehensive knowledge to fight for his clients' causes, consistently securing substantial settlements and verdicts. He attained the Dean's List honors each year, Dean's Scholarship, New England Scholar Award, and served on the Law Review. Michael also acquired practical work experience spending time at the plaintiff's law firm of Lubin and Meyer and the defense law firm of Foster and Eldridge. Michael Kelly attended New England Law. Mr. Kelly knew that after receiving his law degree, he wanted to launch a firm with a single focus: client service. Attorney Kelly concentrates his own practice primarily on his plaintiff's personal injury cases. While providing zealous advocacy for clients, Mr. Kelly is also committed to the firm's credo of client service, which includes a unique offer: a 30-day risk-free guarantee. If the unlikely event that the client is dissatisfied within the first 30 days, they may have their file returned to them by the firm free of charge. Today, we'll dive deep into the topic of the importance of case management, how to stay organized and increase case value. Michael Kelly will discuss the importance of effective case management, including how to prioritize tasks, manage deadlines, and stay organized. At the end of our episode, I have prepared a fun question for our guest, so stay tuned in. Welcome to Time for More Injury Funding podcast, Michael.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Michael Kelly Injury Lawyers and how is your law firm impacting the legal industry in Boston, Massachusetts, and maybe even perhaps nationwide?
Well, I'll try. And that was a hell of a lead-in. That was a mouthful. That was awesome. Yeah, I mean, we try to do the best we can. We're client service oriented. You have to be in this industry, in the personal injury space. Without the clients, myself and the people that work at the firm don't have jobs. So it's all about them. Everything we do, every decision we made is based on the clients, and we try to do the best we can, getting highest value that we can on their claims, and do it in the shortest period of time, which typically they appreciate.
And you handle a variety of personal injury cases, including car accidents, class action, workers' compensation, truck accidents, motorcycle and bicycle injuries, electric scooters, pedestrian injuries, and similar cases. How do the cases you handle highlight the importance of proper marketing and case value maximization for you as a lawyer and your fellow attorneys at the firm?
Yeah, so it's hard to do it all. We try not to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, but the things that you just referenced are all related. They're in the personal injury space. In terms of the marketing, in case value maximization, I don't think there's anything more important, right? I mean, if no one knows about your services and what you can offer your community, it doesn't really much matter because they're not going to call you. In our industry, we work on a contingency fee, which I'm sure a lot of people that might view this podcast might be familiar with, but we don't get paid unless we win. So we have to be careful in terms of what we get involved in. We try our best to get involved in anything that we can be successful in, and we feel like we can help our clients in. And I think a little later on, we'll get into, the specific things that we do to try and maximize a client's claim, because make no mistake, people call a personal injury lawyer, not only for understanding, compassion, and to guide them through probably a foreign process, but also to put a check in their hand at the end of the day. So again, our focus is to do that in the shortest period of time, and also deliver the largest check that we can to the people that trust us with their cases.
That's fantastic. Now let's discuss some lawyer tips for increasing case value. What are some common mistakes lawyers make when it comes to valuing their cases, and how can they avoid them?
Yeah, so this is a good question here, and I think we could spend some time on this one. Is in our market in Massachusetts, my belief is that we're actually behind the curve. I think some other states in the United States have done a good job advancing the plaintiff's bar and doing everything they can for their client to really maximize the amount that a prospective claim can settle for. I've done everything in my power over the last couple of years, even 10 years. We've been in practice about 12 or 13 years to focus there. And I think that separates my firm from many firms in this industry in our market. The thing that I think is done here that can be problematic is that there's an old way of thinking that when someone is injured, they know the playbook, right? They have an understanding of exactly what they should be doing, when, how, who to trust in terms of medical personnel and doctors, how to get, the most out of their treatment to try to get them back to even ground. And when I actually entered the practice, what I heard a lot was, for a new case, you tell your client, go treat and give me a call when you're all done, right? And that's just not how we do things at our firm. I think getting involved in that process, making sure the client is educated, making sure they have an understanding of, who they might see, the types of different doctors, try to get them close to home. So it's as, it's little on them as humanly possible. But also what types of tests to look out for, what questions to ask, right? I mean, we would never send somebody somewhere where there was no benefit to them physically or mentally after, having been through a traumatic experience. But in this industry, you really truly do get one bite at the apple. You have to investigate anything and everything that could have gone wrong as a result of the accident before you resolve your claim. And insurance companies have gotten tougher. I'm not a fan of them. I'm not sure if you are or not, but my experience with them has been take premiums every month, and when a claim is made, do everything they can to pay as little as possible. So, we try to be aware of and stay, in the know of the things that we can do to combat that behavior. And really what it comes down to is do everything that you need now, right? Find out as much as you can about your injury, in this space, the personal injury market, and then treat it, get everything you need, because you really truly do only get one shot.
Can lawyers use data and analytics to increase the value of their cases, if there is such a thing at all?
Yeah, I think this is becoming more popular. I mean, the world's changing. I'm kind of a younger attorney. I would say that I'm in the newer wave. I might be in between at this point. But I think that, there's been some problematic things happening in our industry for a long time, particularly in Massachusetts. It's kind of the old way of thinking. It's the, I need to look at the client X file. So I'm going to go down to the file room and search through, basically a library of binders and try to find a one-page document for what I'm looking for. I mean, more exists now, right? We have case management software. We have artificial intelligence coming into play. We have the benefit and the use of computerized systems to take advantage of, automations that we never had access to back, a couple decades ago. And all these things allow us to be more effective. And if anyone thinks that the insurance company is not taking advantage of all these things, they're out of their mind. I mean, their entire job is to preserve money for their businesses and companies, right? Insurance companies, like casinos, were not, built on losers, right? They know what they're doing. They're sophisticated. They're deploying all this information against us. So, clients in this field need a lawyer who's staying up with the times, taking advantage of all the things that are constantly coming out, technologically speaking and in data speaking, in order to put their claims in the best possible position.
Storytelling plays a huge role in the courtroom. What role does storytelling play in increasing case value, and how can lawyers use it to their advantage?
Yeah, I often joke in my office that, if you can act like Matthew McConaughey or Denzel Washington in the courtroom, you're probably doing a pretty good job.
I love it.
Yeah, it's not always about being of course, you need to be procedurally sound. Without the law, we're nothing, right? I mean, that's what's dictating all of this activity in this particular space, because there are written laws in our state, Massachusetts, and nationwide that give us basically the ground rules, right? But being a little artistic, getting out of yourself, maybe even acting a little bit, can be tremendously beneficial to a client and the client's claim, particularly when you may be dealing with kind of a stuffy defense lawyer that has been living underground, and I don't know, you know how they can get, Laura, on the other side. But kind of adding some life to it, being likable, relating to the human being, whether it be a jury, an adjuster, a field investigator, or a defense attorney. It can be tremendously powerful, and I think a lot, what holds a lot of people back is the unwillingness to get out of themselves, right? I know lawyers that probably have never acted like themselves a day in their life while practicing law, right? I mean, being yourself, that may be the most powerful thing you can be. And if you can add a little flair to that, I think that the sky's the limit.
I couldn't agree more. Now, let's shift, Michael, our focus to some marketing strategies for lawyers. What are some effective marketing strategies that lawyers can use to attract new clients and grow their practice based on your experience?
Yeah, I mean, the old adage is, half my marketing works, I just don't know which half, right? And I think a lot of lawyers would probably say, that's true for me. What we've done to be successful is we try to know our numbers, although it's not always very easy to do so. You might have a client call in and say, "Hey, I found you online," or I saw your billboard, and you may not have a billboard. I saw your TV commercial. Well, we're not on TV. You know what
I
I'm
love
saying?
it.
So, yeah, I mean, you can't kind of live and die by that. But, my philosophy is to be everywhere, all at once, all the time, right? I mean, our brand is something we focus on. There are lawyers out there that are buying cases, whether it be, pay-per-click on Google or through companies that will market, third party and then deliver you a signed retainer. That's never really been our thing. Again, our client service focus, we try to focus on our reviews from real life clients. We try to, obviously take advantage of different verticals, including TV, billboard, internet SEO, all those things. But they're all long play items, right? I mean, I really truly don't think there is a silver bullet, to gaining a human being's trust, which is really what it comes down to when you're talking about, representing someone going through something difficult. So, marketing is always hard, but if you're delivering a supreme product, and you're telling everybody about it, I think things kind of work themselves out. And, a guy, that I spoke to not long ago said, never underestimate the power of doing something small consistently for a long period of time, right? And listen, that couldn't be more true, right? I mean, without consistency, you'll never get there. But you got to be dedicated to the cause too.
Yes, consistency, persistence, boots on the ground, head down, nonstop, one step at a time. It makes
100%,
all the difference. Absolutely.
100%.
How can lawyers use social media to promote their services and build their personal brand?
Yeah, related, right? I mean, the branding has to be consistent, and not only does the look and feel of your company, your brand, have to be consistent and kind of holistically, have a calling in your market, but also, the timeliness of your messaging, right? One thing that I don't agree on with respect to marketing is kind of that one punch, right? The 30-second ad on the Super Bowl and then never doing anything else. Or in Boston, we just won the NBA Finals. Go Celtics. That 15-second spot. I just don't think it has a tremendous amount of impact. You have to, there's got to be some frequency with your advertising. I think that relates to the social media, maybe more so than other advertising verticals. Because if someone sees you online, right, once, there's so much stuff out there that they're consuming minute by minute, second by second. If you want to make an impact on them, they've got to see you over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's some hiccups that you had, and you're familiar with some attorneys that had some issues with marketing. What are some common mistakes lawyers make overall when it comes to marketing? And what recommendation would you give to everybody how to avoid those mistakes?
Laura, the mistakes I've made. I mean, there's a speech given by Al Pacino on Any Given Sunday, and he goes, fellas, I've made every wrong decision a middle-aged man can make, and sometimes I feel like that's me. Um, but yeah, I mean, this goes back to what I just talked about. It's not a knockout punch in this business or any other. You've got to be consistent. You've got to have a plan. You should have a budget. You should have a profit and loss statement. And for new lawyers, kind of new firms, that probably seems like a lot, right? I mean, you're spending all this money, you're taking on clients, you're trying to monetize their claims. Your margin's probably pretty thin. And to think about spending money in these areas, marketing, finance, accounting, intake, operations, I mean, it's daunting, right? But if you have a plan and, as you put it, you take it step by step, Rome was not built in one day, you will get there, because not everyone can do this. And, my philosophy has been, if someone were to ask me how I did it, I will open up the book. I will tell them everything we do. I will literally show you my books if you want. I will tell you how we increase claim value. I will tell you how we work claims. I will tell you how much money we take in, how much we pay our clients, how much is referrals. I'm not a believer in kind of the secrecy. And the reason why I'm not worried about creating competitors is I know not everyone is going to do it. The human condition is to, it unfortunately is to give up. So, what makes those people that continue on so special is that they continue on.
Getting the right people in the right seats is essential for everybody. I'm sure for your firm as well, or for any law firm, whether we're talking personal injury, civil litigation, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, or really any other law practice realm. How can lawyers identify and attract the right clients for their practice? And what are some strategies for building strong relationships with those clients? Again, based on your experience, Michael.
Yeah, nothing more important. Particularly with the people that work in your organization. I never knew how important culture was until the last couple of years. We were doing great, getting good results for clients, thought people were happy enough. And then, just kind of on a dime, it can change on you. And there can, and again, this is not just for personal injury, but business in general. The people that work at your company have got to be happy and they got to want to be there, right? And if you can figure out a way to manage that, the results are going to speak for themselves. I mean, personal experience, we had the very same inventory, with some issues culturally, with some people that were not happy and, had maybe been there for a little too long and just, we were kind of heading in a direction that needed correction. So, we got back in there and, I made a couple new different hires and we really focused on that. And with the same inventory, we've been able to like triple our revenue, right? With the very same cases, right? And that's a testament to the people that work in the office that are doing the work every day, right? And with respect to the clients, we try to help everybody, right? I mean, of course, we can't take, a claim on a contingency fee where someone rear ends someone else, right? And then wants to call it the car in front's fault. But, we are liberal with the cases that we sign up. We try to investigate them immediately and find kind of a path towards success for the individual contacting our firm. And there really are no bad clients, just bad experiences that your clients might have. And we try to keep an eye on that. I mean, I can't sit here, Laura, and tell you that, there's no one that's been unhappy with the service we provided, but it's very important to us that, we're constantly keeping an eye on that and constantly checking in with our clients to make sure that the service we are delivering is something that is exceeding expectations.
And a lot of lawyers make mistakes when it comes to client selection. And I'm sure you had one or two. What would you recommend? What recommendations would you give to avoid these mistakes when it comes to client selection?
Yeah, I mean, the hard truth is you can't help everybody, particularly if someone doesn't want to get helped. But I will say, in my experience, 99.9% of the time, it is not the client, right? It is the experience that your client has had with your law firm. So again, if you're hearing a lot of complaints from clients, it's not that you have crazy clients. Clients aren't crazy. They've been launched into an unfamiliar situation that's, oftentimes very difficult to deal with. The majority of times they have not dealt with this before. And as their lawyer, their representative, they're trusting you, to look out for their interests. And if a client is not happy, then I would challenge the law firm to take a look at, what really went wrong. Because, my experience has been, when someone is upset, there's a reason for it.
That's a good point. What tips, Michael, would you give to lawyers who aim to use their network and community to find new opportunities and grow their practice, just like you did your own practice?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the ground game's got to be strong, right? You got to get out there in the community. You got to, shake hands, kiss babies type thing. You can't, just sit in your office and hope clients come to you. Um, they're people like anybody else. And like I said, they've been through something traumatic. Very, very seldom is it easy to deal with, not something they have a lot of experience with. I mean, how often does someone have a client that's been injured 7, 8 times? Not, not very often. These accidents will take place once in a lifetime. So, getting out there, meeting people, other lawyers, connecting with your community. There's a million different ways to do it, but, I encourage every single one of them. It's not always easy to do, right? Because, myself included, the people that work over at our office, we all have lives, we have families, we have responsibilities. But giving back and getting out there and, becoming known, that's always a good thing.
Can you walk us through maybe one or two strongest of Michael Kill injury firm cases and how it highlights the importance of proper marketing and case value maximization?
Yeah. So listen, all the cases are the same for me. The higher value cases, in theory, don't get any more attention than your run of the mill rear end accident. Every client is treated, and they're supposed to be anyway. If they're not, please, someone, if anyone in my office watching this right now, call me if you feel like, someone's getting more attention than the next, because we do try to deliver a AAA product to every single person that comes through the door. Do we do that? Of course not. We're not perfect, but we try to. We try to. And in the event that that service is not being delivered, then we got to have conversations with our team members and see what went wrong. Some horrible, horrible things happen out there every single day. And I wouldn't wish it upon any single person that I represent. But we live in the real world and these things do happen. And if they do happen, I want my community to know that we have, an infrastructure and a business set up that can help that person through, this experience.
And what tips would you give to lawyers who strive to stay up to date with the latest developments in the legal industry and adapt to the changing trends and technologies? Because it's nonstop. We barely can keep up.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to keep up. I think the biggest piece of advice that I could give to anyone that's kind of starting or anything like that is try to get a mentor, right? Someone that's been there, done that, but someone that you kind of look up to. Picking a mentor is not easy. But there's a lot of great information from the generation ahead. I know I commented on how in this market I don't necessarily agree with everything that's been done to date, and I hope to be at the vanguard of change in Massachusetts, because I think there's a lot of meat left on the bone, and there's some low-hanging fruit that the personal injury bar can take advantage of in our war against the insurance companies. But mentorship is incredibly important, right? The ability to pick up the phone, send an email, send a text to someone that like, trust, and say, hey, I got something going on here. What do you think? And, over the course of that conversation, could be 30 seconds long or a minute, light bulbs always go off for me, new ideas, new directions, new directives. And, without the people that I trusted, 12, 13, 14 years ago to steer me in the right direction, there's no way that we're where we're at right now.
This is so great. I hope this episode about the importance of case management and how to stay organized and increase case value while discussing the importance of effective case management was informative and educational. As promised, here's a fun pop-up question for you, Michael. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Let's do it. What is the most challenging aspect of your profession and how do you overcome it from day to day?
It's got to be consistency, right? Because, without that, you start to kind of trail off a little bit. I think it happens to everybody. It's like going to the gym or following a diet, right? I mean, if you're not consistent, the results are not going to be there. It's the same thing with business. You've got to be willing to learn. You've got to stay plugged in. You've got to always be educating yourself and kind of staying with the times. You got to take advantage of what's new. If you do the same thing every day, for the next 5 or 10 years, you are going to be out of business, right? You have to be pivoting, and you have to be, learning and changing, and you've got to be agile. And that is just that all that is consistency, waking up every single day and trying to improve. That's all it is. And that goes for life too, right?
Absolutely. And if anyone needs your professional help and is looking for Michael Kelly injury lawyers, how can they reach you? Do you have a website, social media platforms, email, phone numbers?
Yeah, hopefully we're not that hard to find, right? Talked about all that marketing. Our
Mhm.
website is callkellycall4.com. That's our slogan. You can find us in and around the Massachusetts area on billboards, and our phone number should be very easy. It's just 617, which is the Boston area code, and then all fours. So 444-4444. And actually, we have a pretty good social following as well. And the Instagram is MK Injury Lawyers, and you can also find us on Facebook, TikTok, all that good stuff.
I love it. That was personal injury attorney Michael Kelly with Michael Kelly Injury Lawyers. I want to thank you all for listening and watching our story today. For more tips and tricks on legal funding and personal injury law related topics, follow me, download, like, and subscribe for It's Time for More Injury Funding podcast on several podcast platforms, including but not limited to Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, and others worldwide. And follow More Injury Funding on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, Google Business Profile, and my website, moreinjuryfunding.com. That's with 2 O's. I can't wait to see you, my dear listeners and viewers, of my next upcoming episode. Until then, see you then. Thank you.